Welcome to Highly Questionable. That's Izzy Gutierrez. This guy, Boston fan, Poppy, all of a sudden out of nowhere. Izzy, what do you like on the show today?
We solved the riddle on how a collegiate assistant volleyball coach helped Baker Mayfield become the #1 pick.
Yes, dale, Poppy.
What do you read into Tom Brady splitting the fifth when asked if he feels appreciated?
Tom Brady, who has spent a career purposely saying nothing in front of the cameras, has now, in the most legal jargon way possible, said nothing by pleading the fifth. And it means something. Listen to this.
Do you feel appreciated by them, and do they have the appropriate gratitude for what you have achieved?
I plead the fifth.
So that's it. The whole network has been covering this today. And before we give you our serious social commentary by two gas bags, let's get the most honest opinion you can get on this story from anyone. This was my father before the show, just yammering because he's so tired of this story. Let's go. What are you reading? What's the information that you got? What are you going to unleash? I know, but what are you going to unleash? What are the jokes you got for us?
Brady, the question is, he's not happy. He's happy. Maybe he's happy. No, he's not
No, how happy is he? What percentage of happy? That's right. That's what the entire network is talking about. How happy is Brady? Is he 94% happy? He's 35% happy.
Oh, he doesn't like Billy.
Oh, he might not like Belichick. Maybe he likes him 94%.
That's right.
How can you not find this interesting? This guy has never done anything like this. He never wants to be a distraction. He never wants to look like someone who's not a team player. Now he comes out and says he feels underappreciated. He's been taking discounts forever for the Patriots. And I get it. I get why Tom Brady would think he's responsible for his own success and that he would not like it very much that the Patriots think that they're responsible for taking a 6th-round pick and making him into what they would have made Jimmy Garoppolo into because the Patriots way is the way that matters.
I hope this one stung for you a little bit, Le Batard, because I feel like this was Tom Brady essentially saying, hey, those debates that you hate about who's more important to the Patriots, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick, they actually happen. And that Tom Brady is one of those people that says, man, I don't get enough credit. I should get more credit for being a 5-time Super Bowl champ in this organization. But what I found really interesting about it is just that little peek into Tom Brady, that little peek into that personal portion that, hey, he does feel offended that he's not getting enough credit. That, hey, he does have an opinion on the kneeling situation and the protests. He's just not quite ready to throw it out there and ruin team PR. I think overall, what I hope really ends up being this sort of fight between Belichick and Brady is Brady being more of the late career Kobe Bryant, and just being honest and being open and not caring about what Bill Belichick and the Patriots are going to do. I'm hoping that's the case.
We're all hoping for that. But pleading the fifth on something is not exactly Kobe not giving any bleeps.
It's the most we've ever heard from him.
I don't know why he's complaining about it. He makes a lot of money. He makes half of what Jimmy Garoppolo makes.
That's right. That's right. That might be the source of all of this, by the way. Just that.
Were you gasbags too quick to anoint the 76ers?
That's a gas bag. This is a gas bag. He's the guy who calls others gas bags while being filled with more gas than anyone in the history of petroleum. What we have happening here, though, is a situation where the Sixers have to suffer some. You do not get in that sport from being someone who's never in the playoffs to someone who just rolls through the playoffs. There are some things that happened last night that aren't going to happen again. Ben Simmons was terrible, more turnovers than assists. Boston made everything. You got Rozier and Horford. You got these guys. Tatum scoring more together than Garnett, Pierce, and Allen ever did in a game. That's probably not going to happen again.
So why is this a Sixers thing? Why isn't it a Celtics thing? Why isn't it a Brad Stevens thing? Because a name that you didn't mention was Jaylen Brown, who wasn't even in the game because he was hurt, and they still had this type of performance. They got, from those three guys, shot 63%. And frankly, I think we are all Eric Bledsoe now because nobody knew who Terry Rozier was, and nobody knew he could do this specifically in the playoffs against the team that we thought was going to make the finals.
Agreed. None of us knew who Scary Terry was, but I'll tell you who he was in the previous incarnation. Isaiah Thomas, when he got the usage rate on that team with players that weren't as good as the young players this team has now. It is crazy that Boston has 3 starters out and won that way last night. But none of you want them to advance because you know that team is too broken to do anything meaningful after this. This is not the team anyone wants to advance.
I don't know. Maybe it's a Brad Stevens thing. I mean, look, he figured out how to get these guys to shoot poorly from 3 and to somehow get the worst from Ben Simmons and win despite Joel Embiid doing his thing in the post. There's a reason Brad Stevens is taking this team where he is.
Now the Sixers, they can shoot threes. What happened in the last
I
series?
know,
They
right?
couldn't
Right.
shoot.
That's so true. He's like, what happened? So wait, Ilyasova and Bellinelli aren't actually that good.
That's right. Do either of you two have the intestinal fortitude to pick the Raptors over the LeBrons tonight?
The intestinal fortitude is something that I do not have because Toronto Raptors, I do not trust them. I know that they've got a coach of the year. I know they're playing differently. I know that their bench is stronger than it has been. But I cannot bring myself to pick against LeBron in a series when you know that he's always going to be the best player on the court and you're just watching him come off, even though he's on a weak team, the single best postseason performance that we've seen over 7 games from him. That's a crazy high bar for him to climb over. The Raptors, they don't seem to be the team that anyone believes can do it.
Man, I used to be that person too. And a couple of weeks ago, I was that person that said the Raptors might even lose in the first round to the Wizards. My money's on the Cavs. And then I watched the Cavs-Pacers for 7 games, and man, it requires LeBron to do that much for that team to get out of that round. I don't believe the Raptors are worse than the Pacers. I think they are better than the Pacers. I think, obviously, going into this series in Toronto is not great for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Their only strength here is really the confidence that they've built up over those last 2 games against the Toronto Raptors. They happen to be in Cleveland as well. I don't know if this is the team that can beat the Raptors. This might be the Raptors team that overcomes them.
Well, everybody talks about DeMar DeRozan. They talk about Kyle Lowry. They talk about the other guy. What's the other guy?
Valanciunas?
Serge Ibaka.
Serge Ibaka. I forgot about Serge Ibaka.
Okay.
But the guys that nobody talks about it, they're going to make the difference. Going to be Siakam and Anobi. That's the 2 guys are going to be. That's what they're going to be guarding LeBron, buddy. And I'm telling you, they are
LeBron stoppers.
That's right. They're the LeBron stopper. That's it. That's going to be the X factor in that series. Those 2 guys. And Anobi and Siakam.
All right, LeBron stoppers. Keep in mind, my father also called Lance Stevenson LeBron's worst nightmare before LeBron went off for 45 the other day in Game 7, and Lance was in foul trouble.
Well, I mean, that's the way it goes.
Oh, it goes that way sometimes.
How should Browns fans feel about the team's explanation for passing on Josh Rosen?
This was sort of amazing. Alonzo Highsmith, best athlete in the history of University of Miami football by consensus, has come as a scout to come to a high place in the Browns organization. He says he was at an airport and he was around the volleyball team for UCLA and he asked an assistant coach about Josh Rosen and the response was, go ask his girlfriend. And Alonzo Highsmith knew on the spot, I don't like this guy. He smells fishy. I'm not going to draft him. That's the way that you do the drafting in Cleveland if you are used to 2 decades of unfathomable failure. It seems like great honesty that he would say that. It doesn't exactly seem like advanced analytics.
It seems like a job anybody can do, anybody at this table can do. And further, he talks about Baker Mayfield and how he commanded a room when he walked in. Man, the Browns are just going to be the Browns. Even if they land on both of these guys, Ward and Mayfield, with the number 1 and number 4 pick, they're not doing it right going in. They're saying all the wrong things, and it doesn't really give you confidence that they made the right choice based on football matters. It's kind of embarrassing if I'm a Browns fan.
You know who should be mad at the volleyball coach?
Who's that?
Baker Mayfield. Now he has to live in Cleveland. He didn't want to go there.
That's right. Baker
That's
Mayfield
right.
sending them to this bleeping UCLA volleyball coach. He gets to go back to California.
Live in the shadows of Johnny Manziel.
You can also say, well, you know, they're making progress. They went from a homeless guy to a volleyball coach, so, you know, that's...
That is. You could also say that. That's correct. That would be another joke you could have used.
Coming up next on Highly Questionable.
You know, I just decided to fight back. And I've been doing it ever since. So once, I guess, I had enough of my food being taken from me, I just was like, okay, well, enough of that. If I make it, I'm going to eat it. And if you have a problem with it, you're going to have to come see these 2 knuckles, Ike and Mike.
Do you need the most trusted battery in your noise-canceling headphones? Maybe not. Maybe you could trust you won't be next to a loud eater. Or you could just trust